with social media now and celebrity and privacy, and especially you having kids and how they navigate online and the pressures of having everyone can have a public life, I was just interested to know how you feel about those changes, because and the reason I mention modelling is like anyone on Instagram now feels conscious about how they look on photos. I always, feel I don't take a lot of photos myself because I don't feel photogenic, and actually the psychology behind it's really interesting because it's all about familiarity, and it's why that when you see yourself in a mirror you think you look better than on a photo, because you see yourself in a mirror more times than in a photo, and so you're familiar with that appearance of you, and so that feels like normality. Whereas if you see yourself in a photo where it's now the other way around, it seems a bit odd. But there's a lot of pressures online, and just so as a mother, but also as someone who's been in that sort of world.
It's fascinating. It is fascinating, and it does worry me, and it does concern me because, as you say, everybody can sort of have their own platform now, and not that there's anything wrong in having your own platform, but it's what is that about? What and how and who are you under it? I worry about people who are sort of still developing their sense of self, and then having their sense of self sort of shaped and formed by what they're seeing in social media, where they think, they've got to have this amazing life. They've got to always have their legs up on the pool, right, or holding the sunset, or out at this amazing party, or with their big group of friends, or the latest this, that, and the other, and looking incredible all of the time. And that I worry that people start to feel that sort of distorted reality is normality, and it's not. And
because you try and live up to that perception,
or you measure your life against it and think, well, I'm just sat at home on the sofa, doing nothing in pajamas with a bit of dried egg on and, no plans for today. So was my life less than someone else's? And and that's the problem that can happen, is that that there's a lot of comparison and there's a lot of distortion. And I do talk to my kids about it a lot because it does worry me, and I think it can be unhealthy, and I think the way to address it is to keep having the conversation and really sort of try and see that is not a normal representation of anyone's life. It's unless we don't post the pictures of ourselves looking terrible and that haven't gone through all the filters and that are just dull and uninteresting, because we think nobody will want to look. But it doesn't mean that there's not value in those moments. In fact, usually that's where the greatest value is in those moments.
But that even goes into the traditional press, because like the history of like Rupert Murdoch was the reason he set up those sort of celebrity pieces in newspapers, was so that the average worker could see that celebrities were just human too. That's why they did the stories about people going through all these crises and sort of like building them up to break them down again. There's this whole psychology of just building people up, and then that comparison with when we are in moments of being vulnerable. And I think it's why we need to have those open conversations about the bad as much as the good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and what we consider bad, that's where all the gold is.
Bad is probably a terrible word, but
but it's where all the gold is. They are the fight. That's where
growth happens.
That's where growth happens. It's that's where people feel connected to each other. That's where things change. And it doesn't mean you can't have all the nice stuff as well, but it's learning about what's real. And I think the major thing with social media is just for everyone to have that full acknowledgement of not comparing themselves, and understanding that it is distorted reality, it's not reality. And also just not forgetting to live, not forgetting just to live life for yourself, and that is more than enough. In fact, that's everything.
When you go to a music show, don't have to film it. Watch it with your own eyes. Be in the moment, and that's where mindfulness comes down to.
Well, that's where you get to suck the juice of life. When you're there in the moment, you will get the goodness. We think if other people appreciate it, we're somehow getting it. But no, in that vicarious way, you don't. It might trickle through, but if you're there fully appreciating it, that's when you'll get the good stuff.